Are you ready?
Pack is back, cause I'm mass destruction. Guess who's here? The bad boys of wrestling. Testing competition when the war does their mission. Not no mercy, see the rings like the street. If you don't know, you better find out the wolf pack.
Woo! Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Nostal-Ged Wrestling. So, I was so hyped because WrestleMania was only last month, and that match between Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens and the Usos, that just got me hyped for tag team wrestling all over again. And then I watched Backlash, and it was good to see them team up with Riddle. But it got me thinking, what now? Are we just going to do Owens and Zayn versus Usos over and over? What is the future of tag team wrestling in WWE? Is there a future for tag team wrestling in WWE? Not in this guy's opinion. Listen, as a kid and as a teenager, I was spoiled for tag team wrestling. Now, I don't want this to be things were better in my day, I'm a grumpy old man, it was better when I was a kid. That's not what this is. But as a kid, I had the Legion of Doom, the Hart Foundation, the Steiners, Money Inc. You had the Bushwhackers, the Nasty Boys. That was as a kid. And then into the late 90s, early 2000s. Man, that was when tag team wrestling was at its height. Just think about it. Dudleys, Hardys, Edge and Christian, New Age Outlaws, Harlem Heat, APA, Too Cool. You could not miss tag team wrestling from the 90s through to the early to mid 2000s. Is it the fact that tag team wrestling used to be seen as such a big deal? Your biggest stars would be in tag teams. You'd have The Rock and Mick Foley, Rock and Sock Connection. You'd have Hogan, Hulk Hogan, and the Macho Man, the Superpowers, Kane and Undertaker, Brothers of Destruction. Hell, at the height, Stone Cold and Triple H were a tag team. The two-man power trip. Can you see in 2023 Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, any of these guys forming a tag team, tag teaming up, having a title run with the tag team titles? Come on, be realistic. It ain't happening in 2023. So I was thinking, maybe it's not a tag team thing. Maybe it's a bigger picture. Maybe it's to do with factions. Maybe there isn't enough factions now to rival each other. Think about it. There's only really two factions in WWE now. Bloodline, of course. Usos, I'll always praise the Usos. They're the exception. They're outstanding. And the Judgment Day. Judgment Day are great as well, but I cannot recall one occasion where their paths have crossed. Surely, if you've got two factions, they have to face each other at some point. What a great faction does is it gives you a chance to take two guys that are in the background, maybe two youngsters, and push them with a tag team title run. Every great faction had a tag team title run. Hart Foundation, that had Bulldog and Owen. Nation of Domination, D'Lo and Cameron Mustafa. Evolution, Flair was on his way out. He teamed up with Batista. Tag team title run. DX had the New Age Outlaws. I mean, what was friggin' Jesse James doing before DX? Hell, APA, before they were the APA, they were acolytes. They were in the Undertaker's ministry. And they got pushed to the friggin' moon. Now, tag team wrestling didn't just disappear overnight after the Attitude Era finished. There have been some really good tag teams in the last 5 years. I mean, you had the Wyatt family. That was fantastic. The Bar, the New Day. The New Day have never had a bad match against the Usos. Anytime those guys get together, they tear it up. You had the Revival, Dash and Wilder, brought back that old school tag team style. Then you could have brought up the likes of DIY and Undisputed Era from NXT. If they'd have pulled the trigger on them, they could have had a decent tag team title run. But if we are all being honest, the last 5 years have been abysmal for tag team wrestling in WWE. They have had no choice but to put all the straps on the Usos and have them go on an undefeated run, because there's nothing else. I really haven't enjoyed doing this video so far. I've just been whining and moaning. So let's try and look on the positives. Let's try and see if we can figure out how to save tag team wrestling in WWE. So let's start by looking at the current roster, the current list of tag teams that are available in 2023. And I'm not going to include the likes of Strowman and Ricochet. I mean, that's not a proper tag team. I'm talking about the Alpha Academy, okay? Those guys together, hilarious. Chad Gable, fantastic. Alpha Academy can have a run, but they're not going to save tag team wrestling. Street Profits, those guys are A+, entertaining, athletic, fantastic. But Montez Ford, it seems like WWE want to push him to a singles run. I'd hate that because those two guys should stick together. Now, Imperium, if you could build Imperium, make them bigger, make them into a better faction, give them like a dominant run, there's something there with Imperium. It worked in NXT, it could work here. But in my opinion, and it is just my opinion, there is one way to save tag team wrestling in WWE, and we mentioned it earlier. It is factions. If we're going to start talking about factions, we're going to start with the Judgment Day. We mentioned them earlier. Since the Judgment Day turned on Edge and formed what is their group now, they've not really had any title runs. I mean, Rhea's champion now, but that was WrestleMania. So why not give Dom and Damian Priest a title run, tag team titles? Then you could have Finn as the leader, Rhea's women's champion, and then you could have Dom Mysterio and Damian Priest, give them a tag team title run. Or even better, Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, that whole Mammy thing is fantastic. The fans are behind it. Why not play into it? Steer into the curve. Give Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio a tag team title run. How entertaining would that be? You could have them two running shenanigans. Dominic Mysterio being like the Weasley one who runs in and gets the pin. Rhea Ripley dominating some of the guys. You could do it. You've done it with China before. It's time to pull the trigger. Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio as tag team champions. That shit can work. And if we're saying that factions are the future and the way of saving tag team wrestling, why not go with the best faction of the last 20 years? Who? New Day. Bring back the New Day. Big E's nearly back from his injury. Put them back together. Let them do what they do best. They are clicking. They are funny. They're entertaining. And them and the Usos have never had a bad match. But it's not just the Usos now. You could have New Day versus Bloodline. Check this. 6-man tag. Kofi, Big E, Xavier, Usos, and Solo Sikoa. It works. It fits. It's perfect. Put the New Day back together in a tag team title run. And I want to finish on one final idea, a bit of a curveball, bit of a wild card, okay? One of the most creative wrestlers in WWE is not being used, and he created one of the best factions ever. Why not let Bray Wyatt do whatever the hell Bray Wyatt wants to do? Give him a month, let him go pick whoever he wants to create a faction with, and let him create something. That's what he does best. Wyatt family. He was amazing with Alexa Bliss. He created The Fiend, the Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt could literally take a month away, go to developmental, go to NXT. Hell, everyone look around at who's not being used on the main roster. Create a faction, and he could take over. He's done it before. He can do it again. Why not let Bray Wyatt go mad? Now, these guys have been in wrestling all their lives. I'm just some fat guy from Manchester who's watched wrestling since a kid. What do I know? But I really am worrying about tag team wrestling. It just doesn't look like there's any future. And that's not what I want. That's not what any of us want. We love tag team wrestling. I just really hope that WWE steers back into tag team wrestling, because there's only so long the Usos can carry tag team wrestling. It's happened before where we'll just get sick of them. I don't think it will happen because I love the Usos, but I really don't want that to happen. So come on, WWE, sort your shit out and get tag team wrestling back to where it belongs. Guys, am I right? Am I wrong? Should I give them more credit? Because I just don't see it. Get in the comment section. Let me know your ideas. What could save tag team wrestling in WWE? Is it something mental like getting the Young Bucks from AEW? I don't see that happening in a million years. But seriously, guys, thank you for all your time. Thanks for listening to me rant and sound like a grumpy old man. I'll speak to you guys soon with more Nostal-Ged wrestling. Peace out.
Space is the place, and the the sky's the limit for the Macho Man Randy Savage. And if I can reach up into the air and grab a passing star and hold it in my hand and have that power for those seconds, yeah.